Well, at the end of the day, it's about people's inability to reconcile their addictive, hedonistic desires with wanting to claim the moral high ground, and as such they then start justifying a behaviour pattern that is basically not justifiable. So like a few minutes ago when you asked me how do I eat, I told you straight up, I said, look, this is what I do. I am not 100% carnivore. I've never been 100% carnivore. I've never claimed to be 100% carnivore. I am a hedonist. I'm an addictive personality. You put carbs in front of me and I will scoff them down. Yes, I will. Is that a good idea? No. Should any given person do that on any given day? No. But these people who are starting to now justify, so, oh, you need the carbs because X, Y, and Z, absolute nonsense. No, you don't. Not one single gram ever of exogenous carbohydrate is required post-weaning in human beings.
Episode of Carnivore Evolution. I'm your host, Victoria Olson, together with Mark Ennis. And today our guests are Pim Jansson and Bart K, whom you may know. They are from Pim Bartia. And Bart is a former professor of human physiology, nutrition, and vascular pathophysiology. And Pim has a Bachelor of Science in Nutrition and Exercise. And today we're going to talk to them about the carnivore diet and what's going on in the community. Welcome to the show, folks. Hello, hello.
Thank you.
Pim.
Welcome, guys. Can I just say before we start, I just want to say this to you yourself, Bart. Thank you very, very much for all the information that you've given me over the years. I don't follow that many people on social media. You're not one of them. I wouldn't be half the person I am right now, what I'm doing with my coaching business if it wasn't for people like you. So in case I don't ever see you again, I just want to say a massive thank you very, very much.
You're very welcome. Where are you going,
Yes.
Mark? Are you off somewhere that you don't see me again?
Yes.
No, and just like it's just that your information is absolutely incredible and it's just so easy to follow. And I'm still learning, but like every time I need to learn something more, it's like it's always your channel. I always go back to first.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
And I'd like to thank you too, sorry, and Pim as well. Yes, go ahead, Bart.
I was just going to say, in the introduction there, one thing we forgot is that Pim also holds a master's degree in nutrition.
I'm sorry, I didn't find it when I was scraping the internet.
And the thing is, I actually heard Pim on a podcast about, I can't remember, it was about 5 or 6 years ago. It was actually during COVID when I heard of Pim. And I haven't heard from you on social media ever since. Have you stopped doing it, or are you going to go back to it, or are you working on your farm at the moment?
I stopped about a year ago, and I'm probably not going to go back to doing much online. I still have a few clients, but it's kind of on a need basis if anyone actually knows about me and they contact me, but I don't advertise my services anymore. I don't have time with that. I'm a full-time farmer now.
Yes.
Do you miss it?
Not the social media bit, no.
Yeah.
Well, we missed you because I certainly learned a lot from you, Pim. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Well, now we know what you're doing these days is you're farming, right? In Pim Bartia, which is near Auckland, New Zealand. Whereabouts is it?
It's quite far from Auckland. It's on the South Island, top of the South Island. Yeah.
How big is the ranch?
What are we?
58 acres or 50?
Ooh, that's quite big.
That's not bad. Yeah.
It's a big hobby farm, I guess.
Yes.
Many animals?
About 260 maybe.
Wow.
Someone else the other day and I had to count them.
That's unreal. I'd say that's a hard job looking after them every day. Yeah.
Probably the hardest job in Pim Bartia is putting up with this guy, frankly.
That's what I was gonna say. Where's Ted today?
Yes. We need Ted.
Right, guys. Let's tell us a little bit about yourselves first of all before we start. Let's go with yourself, Pim, first.
Oh, what do you want to know? Like,
just tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got yourself into the industry. Did you ever struggle with your health in the past? What got you into carnivore, stuff like that?
Yeah.
So I was probably always, addicted to sugar. I remember when I was maybe 6 years old or whatever, stealing cookies out of the cupboard. My mom she actually watched an interview with Sean Baker that I did, and she was like, I didn't know that you stole those cookies. so she never figured that out. But anyway, so I've always gravitated towards the carbs, and that obviously got worse the older I got. And, you start eating more and more. And I was at the time, when I was in my 20s, I was probably eating what most people would say healthy, but we know it's not entirely healthy. But on top of that, I always had a lot of sugar. So I could never quit. And then I tried keto because there was a girl in my nutrition class that did keto, and she said, oh, it's amazing. So I tried it, and it was magic. I didn't have any cravings. Everything was fine until I was, you get a bit of hybris and you get overconfident, and I just tried some sugar, and then you immediately fall back.
Yeah.
So obviously, I thought it was like something wrong with me because I obviously could not control it. But what I learned many years later is that you can just retrain your brain to not actually need it. So that, in my opinion, is the key. A lot of people say that, carnivore diet is the best, you won't have any cravings, and it will cure sugar addiction, but it doesn't actually cure the addiction. It just removes the substance. So if you ever touch it, or maybe you have something traumatic happening in your life, something that is very emotional, whatever, then you're probably going to go back to what feels comfortable, which is that addiction, and then you're going to fall back into old habits, and you have no idea how to get out of it. So once I learned how to do that, it's kind of revolutionary to me anyway. And I think it's such an easy fix that if you can do it, you really should be doing it so that you at least have the tools in case you need them. And it's such a shame that people don't know about it. So I just wanted to focus all my coaching on that. Whereas before that, I had been dealing more with nutritional advice, that sort of thing, which I then thought, actually, it doesn't really matter. If you're going to eat sugar or be an addict, it doesn't matter what you eat, you're not going to be happy anyway. So what's the point?
And what about yourself, Bart?
Just click the button. There we go. Right. So, my story, I think people have probably, most people that have been around a bit have heard it 100 times. I started my first undergraduate degree as a somewhat mature student. In my late 20s, I actually started studying. And I went straight through all in a row and did all my qualifications one after the other that I was going to do, I thought, anyway. And then I started as a graduate assistant. I walked straight into a graduate assistant job at the place I just graduated from, and started teaching there 20 years later, and several extra qualifications later, because I changed directions 2 or 3 times during the next 20 years or so of being an academic. It was all over because I'd worked out that it wasn't the area that was the problem. It was the whole field of academia that was the problem, as that regards it being a reasonable fit for something that I wanted to spend my whole life doing. And so I decided I was going to quit doing that. And then I didn't know what I was going to do instead. And a friend of mine said, why don't you be a social media influencer? I said, what now? Well, you go on YouTube and you make videos. I said, well, how do you make money out of that? Turns out I was right. You can't make money out of being a YouTuber. No.
We know.
I know you guys know that. People think that we're these like famous rich people because we have YouTube channels. No. And then, I worked out that I needed to have other income streams. So I started offering consultancies, and I started promoting the Cereal products that I'm affiliated with, the adult stem cell nutrition, and the rest is history. Eventually, we got into a position, Pim and I, where we were able to buy this farm, which she says is 38 acres. I'll believe her because she's got her fingers on all the numbers. It's something like 15.32 hectares for the people that use non-freedom units. It's big. and it takes a lot of work, and so that's what she's doing. And I'm the guy that's running around backfilling the finances as much as possible now. So that's basically the story.
That's what the men do, Bart.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. And anything else I'm called upon to do at any given time. Yeah. So.
And have you guys always been an advocate of the low carbohydrate diet, or?
I have. I was keto for about 27 years, mostly before I started the carnivore diet. I think that was 12 years ago. So we're talking the best part of 40 years now that I've been an advocate, if not a perfect example of low carb. Example, currently my sister and 3 of her kids are with us here on the farm, and they're not carnivores, and I'm sort of, right, I'll have some of that too then. Oh, yum.
Yeah.
Not great. There it is.
No, but it's very interesting because I only came across like low carbohydrate, I'd say around maybe 8 years ago. I don't know about you guys, but that's when I really realized, okay, why are people going on a low carbohydrate diet? Because back in college, I was taught poorly about nutrition. I was told that carbohydrates were the main source of energy. I know how bad that was now, but it's interesting that you've been knowing it for like 27 years. Why do you think that people didn't understand it back then?
Well, from where I was coming from, at that time, it was very much fringe craziness. And see how far we've come?
Yeah.
Well, we had Dr. Atkins back in 1972. I was working in a bookstore, and his book came in, and I picked it up right off the shelf.
But he was high protein, wasn't he? Not high fat, just high protein.
Yeah.
No, he was fairly high fat. He wanted you to eat with cream and butter.
Was he?
Sour cream and that kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought so.
Have you, Pim, have you been low carb for an extended period of time? Are you necessarily low carb these days?
Oh, yeah, I'm low carb. I've tried 100% carnivore for like 3 months, and I can't do it. I get too much headaches, migraines, no energy, all the things, and it took me about 6 weeks to correct that after coming off. So I'm not doing 100% carnivore, but I need to be low carb because of the spectrum. I get headaches and migraines as well, so low carb and preferably higher fat is what works best for me. I think I've been I'm so old now, so to think I've been low carb for like 20 plus years.
Wow.
Listen to it. She's old. Goodness gracious.
You don't look a day over 21, Pim.
No, of course not. No, so probably not low carb for very long then.
Bart, I've heard you mention in the past as well that when it comes to ketosis, you don't think it's a good idea to stay in ketosis. Why do you think that is?
A person who is chasing ketones and who is obsessed with getting the most deep purple they can get on that stick as possible and wants to stay in 24/7 and is frantically posting on every Facebook page, well, this kicked me out, well, that kicked me out, well, the other thing kicked me out. These are people that have been sadly taken in by some people who have educated them poorly. It's understandable by the very nature of the name of the thing, the ketogenic diet. Do you think that's the goal? No. Actually, the natural course of events is for a person to drift in and out of ketosis naturally and easily on a daily basis.
Okay.
The natural design is that we eat once in a day. We don't graze like our animals here do. We have one decent sized meal a day, and that should contain enough protein to be gluconeogenic sufficiently to kick you out. That is supposed to happen. If you don't do that, what starts happening is your kidneys start becoming leaky to electrolytes. You start losing electrolytes. You lose control of the ability to filter electrolytes back into your bloodstream, and they just leak out of your body. And your thyroid function packs up, or can pack up, I should say. None of these things are all fait accompli. They're things that can happen. And there's a bunch of other secondary effects to the thyroid thing around hair loss. That's not what happened to me. I got too much testosterone. That's my issue. Yeah. So, no, you're not supposed to be in ketosis all the time. You are supposed to cycle in and out, and that's supposed to happen on a daily basis. And the person that's well adapted is a person that can drift in and out of ketosis within a course of several hours. This whole idea that it takes 72 hours to get into a decent level of ketosis, that's true if you're not well adapted to it.
Okay.
So,
And how long do you need to be into the diet before that happens? A few months, a year?
how long's a piece of string? Your mileage will vary, individual differences, your gene set, the environment in which you place that gene set. But 6 months upwards, probably.
Yeah. I noticed that myself. Like I couldn't feel myself. I was in ketosis until at least maybe 6 to 8 months. I didn't go near all the strips or any of those monitors. I just felt it. That's how I knew I was in ketosis. I just felt really, really good, and I was like, okay, the addiction is gone now. I feel like I'm deep in ketosis here. I feel like I'm well adapted. I feel like I have control now of my situation, whereas in the past I didn't. But I don't think I'll be ever one of those people that can add in carbohydrates ever again. I know yourself, Bart. You do this on a regular basis. You dip in and out. You're a bit of a drinker at the moment, aren't you? You like to have a glass of beer every now and again.
I've actually gone. I've gone these days. I've gone to the non-alcoholic beer.
Yeah.
Purely because I had to get a handle on the amount of alcohol that I was putting in.
Yeah.
It's not good for your health. It's not good for relationships. It's really for anything, frankly. So yeah, that was an issue. What I am is an addictive personality type. I am a hedonist, and if there's carbs, if there's alcohol, if there's any kind of nonsense or junk floating around, I'm in it. Oh yeah, I'll have a lot.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm definitely not a moderator. I am an abstainer, or someone who needs to abstain. And as an abstainer, the release valve is that from time to time, and sometimes more so and sometimes less so, we jump right off the wagon and we get stuck into whatever's happening, and then we go, right, refocus, reset, back to square one. Let's square that away.
So, Pim, could we ask what your eating habits look like if you're not carnivore and you are low carb? You have so many opportunities on the farm for different things that are wholesome, fresh, self-grown.
Well, I do eat a lot of eggs. We have our own sheep and goat milk. I'm using that, preferably in a smoothie, and then I might have like a banana or something in there. That's not carnivore. What else do I eat? When Bart's sister is cooking roasted vegetables, I'll probably have those. Some of those. Probably carrots. What did she cook yesterday? There was some pumpkin in there, I think. Some sweet potato, that sort of thing.
And
lots of sheep butter. So we got a milking sheep because I don't want to get a milking cow because that's a huge commitment and a lot of milk that I don't know what I would do with. So we got a milking sheep so we can make butter, which is delicious, by the way. If anyone wants to get a milking sheep, I recommend it. Avocados. I'm not taking them for the potassium, just because I like them. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, my diet isn't. I don't eat a lot of processed foods. It's just. I just add some of that. I know in the past I've been doing rice for the carbs, but now when there are other people here and they do cook roast veggies, that's when I have them. If there are none, I probably just eat meat with butter.
Are you butchering your own animals then?
We've processed some chickens. We had one sheep done in the past. That one's eaten already. Now we're waiting for the lambs to grow up so we can get some more lamb meat. And I'm thinking about whether we should butcher one of the older cows or not, but they just had calves, so that's, several months in the future anyway. They need to feed the young and get done with that process, and then probably fatten up a little bit.
And those are for beef cattle? They're not dairy cattle, they're beef.
Yeah, we have Australian low-line Anguses, so they are small Anguses. So 100% beef cows with short legs and slightly smaller bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
And what animals have you got? You've got cows, lambs. I'm presuming you have chickens. What other animals have you got at the moment?
We've got lots of ducks, Muscovy ducks and other ducks. Obviously chickens. We've got Texel sheep, which is a meat breed that is fairly parasite resistant. That's why we chose those, even though we had to share them. We have the cows. We have goats, milking goats. So we have 4 adult ones and 6 babies and 1 in between that we bought, which is going to be our new buck next year.
Nice.
Mm.
Nice. Right, Bart, let's get straight into this. I'm sure you've answered this so many times on social media. What is the story with these carnivores going back to carbohydrates?
Well, at the end of the day, it's about people's inability to reconcile their addictive, hedonistic desires with wanting to claim the moral high ground, and as such they then start justifying a behavior pattern that is basically not justifiable. So like a few minutes ago when you asked me how do I eat, I told you straight up, I said, look, this is what I do. I am not 100% carnivore. I've never been 100% carnivore. I've never claimed to be 100% carnivore. I am a hedonist. I'm an addictive personality. You put carbs in front of me and I will scoff them down. Yes, I will. Is that a good idea? No. Should any given person do that on any given day? No. But these people who are starting to now justify, so, oh, you need the carbs because X, Y, and Z, absolute nonsense. No, you don't. Not 1 single gram ever of exogenous carbohydrate is required post-weaning in human beings.
And I think that's the problem, isn't it? It's like you're not being honest with your audience. It's like, okay, if you are going to eat carbohydrates, you should say it from the very, very beginning. And I've always said this, I don't care if it works for you, but don't come on social media and say that's going to work for everybody, because not everybody's going to be the same as you. You need to factor in what this person does for a living. We know who we're talking. There's many, many people on social media that have the perfect lifestyle. They can go training whatever they want, but 90% of the world can't do that. Yeah. They've got busy lives, busy jobs, busy families. And this is what really annoys me when we hear this term about oxidative stress. This is the reason why your blood sugars are going so high. But like, you can't just tell me that the food that we're currently eating, the carbohydrates, is going to help that. How? Yeah. How?
Well, for a start, would you like to define oxidative stress for me, Mark?
Well, for me, the way I determine the people is this: everybody goes through an awful lot of stress in their life. It could be, it's down to the phone, watching TV, lifestyle, kids, family. But I firmly believe it all starts from what you put into your body. That's where it comes from. That's where if you're feeding the gut really, really poorly, then that's going to impact your mind. That's going to lead to chronic stress. This is when cortisol goes up. This is when you don't feel good about yourself. Your metabolism goes to crap basically, and then everything outside of that then just gets worse. This is where people struggle with their mental health, and they're very anxious about things. They just can't control their environment outside of that. And I always say, if you can control one situation, you always have control of what you put into your body. Yeah. So you should start there. You'll feel good about yourself, and then you're able to deal with the big bad world so much easier. Does that make sense?
It absolutely does. And what you said there, I agree with 100%. But do you see how that was not a definition of what is oxidative stress?
Yeah, that's
the challenge I always throw out. When people say oxidative stress, I say, great, would you like to define that operationally?
Yeah.
What is that? Crickets.
No. Yeah. I think he means metabolic stress in general.
Yeah, that's where, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Would you like to define that? You see where I'm going?
When there's too much glucose in the system.
So it's not oxidative stress then, is it? It's glycolytic stress.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's why we're here, and that's why you're here.
I see. Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, good. So that's kind of just a little segue there into that.
That's good.
But just to add to that, like any type of stress, whether that is external or from the inside due to crappy foods or whatever it is, that's messing with your metabolism. That's when all those bad habits are going to want to kick in because it's comfort to eat or do whatever it is that you're addicted to. Some people just go to the phone, or they sit and watch YouTube all day long or whatever. So if you can remove as much stress as possible, it's going to be so much easier to just handle any type of bad eating. So it's kind of like a really vicious circle that you get stuck in.
Yeah, 100%. And when we look at the carnivore diet, Bart, do you think that there's any nutritional deficiencies just eating animal-based meat on its own?
No, there are not. Demonstrably. I mean, I can point you to several people, some of whom I'm actually acquainted with. Rick Rodriguez, for example, in Florida. He's been eating nothing but meat and animal fat for, I think it's 41 years now. There are a bunch of people around somewhere around 10, 11, 12 to 15 year mark, including one Dr. Sean Baker, for example. And then there's a rancher in Canada, still working as a rancher, in her 80s, and she's been a carnivore, 100% carnivore, for 67 years.
Wow.
Wow.
So
Wow.
when do these deficiencies kick in?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm so
Yeah, it's
sorry.
crazy because we hear it all the time, like, you can't go on the carnivore diet because you need vitamin C. This is what we always hear. You're always deficient in vitamin C.
Yeah. Do you want to handle that one, Pim, or?
Not really. I mean, it's just ridiculous. If you don't eat carbs, you don't have a very high requirement for vitamin C. So if you're going to be cheating all the time and you don't eat any vitamin C, then you might have some problems. But if you're not cheating, you're 100% carnivore, you don't need more than you actually get in the meat, because there is a tiny amount of vitamin C in meat, which is enough for what you need, actually.
Yeah, that's usually from animal organs, isn't it?
Well, just
In meat, muscle meat too. Yeah,
muscle meat. Yeah.
And how about the latest craze, which is the iodine, or you say iodine,
Yeah.
that people are after? And I know I was taking it for a while, and my doctor's Adam Nally, who's a keto carnivore doctor, and he told me I'd burn out my thyroid. I got tested, and in the States, the normal range is 45 to 95, I think, milliliters per whatever. And mine was 897. So I kind of backed off of that. So what do you think about iodine as a supplement?
Well, I usually say to people when they say, what about this for a supplement? What about that for a supplement? Whatever it is, nutrition wise, I always say, what are your symptoms? What is your effect? Oh, nothing, I feel fine. Well,
Yeah.
what's your issue then? Oh, yeah. And the second thread I'd like to pick up there on is like when you have labs done for the normal range of this, that, or the other thing, whatever it is. Who wants to be normal? Because normal is fat and unwell, isn't it?
Yes.
That's what's normal. Anyway, no, you don't need to take additional iodine unless you have symptomology like goiter, for example.
Speaking about taking things at the Bart. Speaking about taking things at the moment, what's your thoughts on, because I have my opinion on this, peptides and TRT, because I'm seeing a lot of people that are younger than me, men in particular, they're losing their testosterone, they're losing their libido. These guys are in their 30s, and I don't know what's like in your country at the moment, but in my country, TRT is massive. Like every second person you talk to is on TRT or they're on peptides. It's unbelievable. It's absolutely incredible. We're getting people over here as young as 21 that are taking this stuff. Like you can literally get over the counter in my country.
Yeah. Okay. My take personally on this kind of issue is that once again, I mean, a lot of people say to me, my testosterone is this, that, or the other thing. Again, I'm going to refocus that person back. Okay, what is your affect? Because at the end of the day, any one given test of something may be off for all sorts of... I'll give you an example. You might remember a few years back, the vegans were climbing all over Sean Baker because he returned a low testosterone test. And I'm like, are you stoned? You people, you vegans? Here is a man in his mid-50s at the time, 250 pounds, sure he's over 6'5", but whatever, muscled, huge. At that time, he was the holder of 2 world records for physically demanding activities at an open age level grouping, not just for old men, like world records, all people. And here are the vegans saying, he's got low testosterone. Well, okay, he returned one test that was low. Do you know there are a lot of things that can drag your testosterone down, including a heavy workout the day before the test, for example? And anyone that would look you in the face without any sense of irony and say Sean Baker exhibits any sign of low testosterone, you'd laugh them out of the building, wouldn't you?
Yes.
So again, let's look at a person's affect. Okay, if a person's libido is not what it should be, whatever that should be, let's look at the reasons for that. Okay, it might be tied up with something to do with their sex hormones, potentially. But I'll tell you what, there's a whole bunch more that plays into libido than just the level of circulating steroidal hormones, isn't there? There's a whole bunch that could play into that, including the way society's going. Let's not even go there. Yeah. Sorry.
Well, I know that I've been on HRT recently, very recently, the last 2-3 months, and I had a hysterectomy at 38, and I'm now 74. I had negligible progesterone and insomnia like crazy, and my doctor suggested some progesterone, and I worked up to 300 milligrams, and I sleep very well. So, Pim, do you have some opinions on hormone replacement therapy for women?
Not really, because I haven't been dealing with that a lot, and I don't have any such issues myself yet. I should say I do have 1 or 2 clients that have been on it. I found it useful, but I think just as you obviously had a symptom that could be related to that, and you have quite like the history of probably not produced enough hormones over time. So in your case, I think that was probably a very smart move. And I think that if you do have symptoms that could be helped with hormone therapy and you think that is the cause, absolutely investigate it. I can't see why suffer if you can't fix it with a diet, because I know you're probably having a really good diet as well. And if that doesn't fix it, not everything can fix it, then, by all means, go and do it, because, you only have one life, and I think you should enjoy it with whatever methods.
One symptom, because libido isn't a problem, and the rest of my energy is high. I'm not depressed. Carnivore takes care of a lot of things like that for me. But the progesterone was quite a surprise. So it actually works.
And I think that's quite common as well in postmenopausal women. So
I think they prescribe it for men too.
Yeah.
For relaxation. Yeah. My energy is so high all the time. I just can't fall asleep, and now I can. It's just boom.
Oh well. I wish my energy was that high all the time. I'm more like a zombie in the evenings, but there you go.
Yeah, but
you work a lot harder than I do.
Around from morning till dusk, aren't you? Right?
Yeah. I know I'm up very early, but still, I'm not used to that.
So,
yes, fair enough.
Bart, can I talk to you a little bit about training? Because myself and yourself have something in common. We come from a rugby background. I know you looked after the All Blacks a couple of years ago. I played rugby at a very, very good level. And I don't want to talk pretty much about how these guys get really, really big. We all know how they're on a heavily carbohydrate-based meal. This is how they put on a lot of mass. But I want to talk about the training, because this is what I've always believed in. And when I came across your page a couple of years ago, and you were mentioning that you should only do two sets of 8 reps. I just go to failure pretty much on 8. I've always believed this, because when I used to train with these rugby lads, we were only in the gym for a very, very short amount of time. But the intensity in those sessions were unbelievable. And that's how I put on so much muscle. And I'm always saying to people, like, listen, believe it or not, what you're actually doing in the gym, you're wasting too much energy. I see a lot of people going into the gym, they're doing the cardio, they're doing like 20 sets, they're doing endless amount of repetitions, and I'm like, you're wasting your potential here. You really are. And this also affects the male testosterone, in my opinion, because they're going into the gym, they're running themselves into the ground. And I'm looking at these people, I'm like, okay, well, you're going to the gym, but you don't look like you go to the gym. You still look the same like 5 years later. Surely there's something going wrong here. It's not just the diet, but it's also the training.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, that's why I'm very eager. I want to speak. I know I spoke to you about this in the past and we had a good conversation, but we never put it on the channel. But yeah, what are your thoughts on this?
Right. A lot of people will talk about a person's general fitness. There ain't no such animal. Does not exist. Okay. Fitness is a specific set of physical capabilities when we're talking about physical fitness. And a lot of different academics that have worked and researched in the area of physical fitness and physical preparation have put together various schema where they talk about you can break fitness into 7 components, 8 components, 9 components, 12 components, 5, whatever their model is. But generally they'll say there's, aerobic fitness, there's strength endurance, there's absolute strength, there's agility, blah, 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 blah. And they'll say these are the different components. What I was doing with the All Blacks, and bless you, Mark, you say it was a few years ago. We're talking about the preparation for the 2011 World Cup.
Yeah, that's a good few years ago.
Yeah, all right. So what my role was there was to analyze what is it that an international rugby union player does during a game of international test rugby union. The reason that they wanted to know that was because I'd convinced them that what they needed to do was train their players specifically for that task.
Yeah.
Rather than making assumptions about all these different components they need, a whole bunch of aerobic fitness, for example. Okay. Well, I'll give you a number just for fun. On average, it was 4 full test matches, the All Blacks versus 4 different opponents during the year before, 2010 year. And my role was to analyze the movement patterns under a microscope of every one of the 1 to 15 or their replacement. So that this is how a guy moves during a game. This is what they really do. And this might surprise people about rugby union, unless you've actually watched some of it, in which case you'll go, oh, that's about right. Of the 80 minutes of playing time, on average, rugby union players are standing absolutely still for 67 minutes of the 80 minutes of playing time.
Wow.
Don't tell me they need a whole bunch of aerobic fitness. No, they don't.
No.
What they need is strength,
Yeah.
power, and let's face it, absolute body size, depending on playing position on the field. Because your body composition is a fitness component. For example, I am, to use freedom units, I'm 5'6" and under 140 pounds dripping wet. So you're not going to put me as front row forward, because that's not going to work for anybody. All right. Maybe I could play in a weight restricted grade of rugby, somewhere well outside, the tight 5 or the tight 7. I wouldn't, because I don't even like rugby. I know, handed my Kiwi card. I'm actually a rugby league man, full through and through. Rugby league is where it's at. Because instead of being active for 13 minutes total during a game, rugby league players are standing still for 13 minutes of 80. It's the exact opposite, in fact. So there it is in terms of that. So if you are training for a given outcome, your training ought to be specific to that outcome. And when I'm talking about 2 sets and not 3, I'm talking about strength and hypertrophy, resistance training there. It turns out that when you look at the research, 95% plus of the benefit is in the first 2 sets. The 3rd set onwards is just volume. It doesn't actually increase particularly the hypertrophy nor the strength gains. And as such is just volume for the sake of it, which just adds to cumulative fatigue, doesn't provide the benefits, so don't do it.
Okay. And can I just ask a question when you mentioned about the 2 sets? Are you taking those 2 sets to maximum failure? Or are you just like this strength phase, you're working up to an 8 rep set, but then on the hypertrophy phase, that's when you're taking the muscle to complete failure?
Generally, for most people, it's perfectly effective for both strength and hypertrophy, although to focus absolutely in on one or the other, there are slightly different techniques, yes, as you're alluding to. But I generally say to people, look, strength and hypertrophy, you can lump them together by doing 2 sets of 8 reps with a weight that you could not lift 9 times. And I do a whole body split. I suggest a whole body split. No push pull, no upper body, lower body, no legs day. It doesn't exist anymore. You're doing your whole body every single time you train, and you're training 3 or 4 times a week, no more, and never on consecutive days under any circumstances. And it's 11 or 12 big compound exercises. You've got the whole body covered. And instead of doing like a set, sitting on the bench, having several hundred sips of water, looking at who looks good in Lycra, you're actually doing a massive superset. You're doing...
And you're wasting too much energy as well.
And then up to the top. So there's no sitting on the bench. So you're in and out of that gym in 45 minutes, and that includes shower. Anyway.
No, it makes perfect sense, because I remember when I used to play rugby, I was a scrum half for like 7 years, and I was told, like, you won't be doing any running, you'll be in the gym, but you'll be eating a lot of food. And that's what they wanted me when I stepped out on the pitch, because I was this big powerful unit, and they wanted me to put on a lot of body fat, a lot of muscle, basically. So yeah, I was only in the gym like, say, 3 times a week, and like you said, Bart, when I was on the pitch, I couldn't run for any longer than, say, 2 minutes, because I wasn't able to. I was too big. I was a big guy, but I was able to get into the scrum. And when it was ready for me to go, I was ready to go.
Exactly.
Because I trained.
In a game of rugby, when does a rugby player run for 2 minutes?
Yeah, never.
Does not happen. So why run miles and miles and miles in one hit?
Because I'm seeing that now. I'm seeing that in my country at the moment. I've been to a few rugby schools, and they're doing everything. They're doing the cardio, they're doing the sprints, they're doing the weight training, and you're looking at these people and say, well, you're never going to make it to the professional level because you're not doing it right. The training that you're doing is not specific to your goal. So if you're going to be a scrum half, a fly half, or whatever, it has to be towards your goal. And I always say this to people in the gym, like, what is your goal? What do you want to do out of this? Are you trying to build muscle? Do you want to be a runner? Do you want to be an athlete? Like, what is the actual goal? And that's what you should be working towards. And because as I said, I've seen so many people just go into the gym and they'll do a half an hour cardio session at the very, very beginning. They're sweating and then they go into their weight session and they're exhausted. And they're doing all these supersets, high repetitions, and they're making themselves even more exhausted. And then you look at them 6 months later and they still look the same. There's no change.
Yeah. One of the issues with doing that, if nothing else, is this. Hypertrophy training, heavy weights, will add muscle mass. Aerobic work will strip it back off. So you're just doing exercise for the sake of exercising. It's daft. Anyway, there you go.
Oh, well, we know that Pim has a background in exercise. Pim, you must get enough exercise on the farm, but do you still lift weights? Do you still do anything extraneous other than the farm work, which is pretty strenuous?
Does turning a compost and lifting feed sacks count?
Yeah, yes, it does. How much
in that case, yes, I do. I wouldn't even have time to go to the gym. The nearest gym is probably 45 minutes from here with cars, so that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
There's no way. So the only weight lifting I do is 25 kilo bags of feed, compost,
That's
I've been carrying calves and lambs around, to be fair. And been shat on. at the same time.
Oh,
There's
no,
lots of fun on the
Oh
fly.
my
that
God.
doesn't count.
That's disgusting. But
Oh,
there you
poor
go.
thing. You poor thing.
Yeah. No, so it's more movement in my case on a
Mhm.
regular basis. So today when we finished here, it's actually compost turning to do, and then it's moving days. I'll be out and about and move. Probably have to chase some bulls, move some sheep, move cows, that sort of thing. So there's a lot of walking, both flat and uphill and that sort of thing. So I'm moving enough,
Oh, I'll bet you
Yeah.
are.
but not building muscle necessarily in the traditional way anyway.
Well, the muscle that you need. I know Mark's philosophy is, can you lift your own body weight? Can you move yourself? So yes, you're getting
Yeah,
plenty of that.
and I can
Sure.
still get off the floor without using my hands, which someone else can't.
There you go. That a girl.
Yeah, I just find it strange when I see women in the gym. They're doing the chest press. They can do about 20 repetitions, but when you
Yeah.
ask them to do a normal press up, they can't even do one.
Yeah, that's a little bit strange, but it's just I guess that is just like the angle that you're holding it. The weight just comes down the wrong way. They have the muscles, but they don't know how to activate that neurologically, I think.
Yeah. And you're not really activating the core sitting on a machine, whereas when you're doing a press up, that's when you're really
Good.
activating your core.
Oh,
So you're
yes.
working, you're working more than just the chest. You're stabilizing all other muscles as well.
Mm-hmm. Now I get plenty of core workouts wearing carrying animals around. You have to, or I'll break my back, I think.
Well, guys, we want to be respectful of the time. We know you are very, very busy. Before we let you go, where can people go to find you, Bart?
Right, I'm really easy to find. My main offerings in terms of social media are on the YouTubes, and it's at Bart-KAY. Too easy. On Instagram, if you want to follow what's going there, Bart_KAY_nutrition. And my Instagram is really nothing much to do with nutrition. It's actually short videos of what's happening around Pimbartia for people that want to follow.
Those are great. I love them.
Yeah, so there's that. You'll find all my other social medias around. I'm not hard to find. If you put my name into a Google search engine, the first 10 pages that will come out will be either my offerings or people saying why my offerings are nonsense.
Yeah, if you don't know who Bart K is, I don't know where you've been for the last 20 years.
That's right. Where have you been?
Yeah. I take it that Pim does not want to be found.
It's fine. Just bear in mind that I do get occasional emails from people just wanting like consultancies. I don't do that sort of thing. If you have a full-blown carb addiction of any kind and you are serious about it, you really want to deal with it, you want to invest 6 months of your time to actually rewire your brain, send an email to the email address that I put into my name down on the screen. But
Yes.
you know, I won't help anyone who just wants to see me once a month or just wants some advice one time because they think that's going to sort the problem out. I don't do that sort of thing because it's not
It's
very
all about the commitment, is Pim.
Yeah, well, you need to be committed, otherwise you won't solve the problem. So,
Oh, the other social media, this guy's got one on X.
Oh, really?
HRH_Ted.
does he take clients?
Well, perhaps he should. But be warned, if you do follow Ted on the X platform, he does tend to be quite free with his verbiage. He does use quite a lot of very, very short words, many of them referring to next Tuesday. I keep telling him, he ought to tone it down and perhaps be a bit less. I can't do a thing with him. He's his own bear. Also, respect his identity, for goodness sake, you bigots. It's hate speech not to. He's his own person. Bear.
Yes.
Person, whatever. He's
His own pronoun.
That's right. He is. Yeah. HRH_Ted. If nothing else, you'll learn something because mysteriously Ted knows a lot about science and epistemology and stuff. But also if you want some comedy, there you go.
Brilliant.
Lovely.
Brilliant.
Lovely. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
Okay.
Well, guys, that's been an absolute pleasure, Bart.
Yes.
It's always a pleasure, buddy. Pam, thanks very much for coming on, and we wish you guys all the best with the farm.
Awesome. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thanks.
All the best.
Speak
Thank
soon.
you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye now.
Bye.
Bye.
Mm.